Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, and we're back with a new edition of the NoDQ Review number 64, and I am Virtue, being joined by, wait a minute, Aaron Rift, we all know Aaron Rift, Big G, we all know Big G, and replacing TJS this week, right, who is out due to technical difficulties. Aaron, you can elaborate on that if you'd like, but Rob has finally made the show. He's been dying to get on here. He's a personal choice for me, so send all the hate mail my way. Rob, I'll start with you, man. What's up?
Well, it's very last second. I'm excited to be here. Virtue, I've been doing stuff with you for a while. Aaron, I've been watching you for years. And Big G, what's up, man? No, man, I'm excited to be here, man. I think we're going to have a great show today. So that's all I got, man. I'm remarkable.
And we'll come back to you. You know how this works. So
I know how it goes.
Big G, what's up? Did you finally make it home from work okay?
I finally made it home from work. I'm doing good. Let's get these topics rolling. Aaron, how you doing?
I'm doing great. And Rob, I'm really excited to have you on the video today. Your mic sounds really high quality, which I think the viewers of this video will appreciate. TGS is actually suspended until he gets a new mic, so that's why he's not on. But we'll see how things go. I'm sure TGS will be back next week. Let's go ahead and get started. In the meantime, Virtue, we got a lot of topics to cover. Let's go ahead and get it rolling.
Like Big G would do? Okay, let's start with the Raw reunion. So, it's just weird placement, calling a Raw reunion out of the blue like this. I don't know how long they had it planned, but I clearly expected this to be a cameo fest. So I just want everybody's thoughts, takeaways. Now, we can all say, it was just another edition of Raw with a bunch of legends that said hi. There were a couple cool things that I liked, which I want to see if any of you bring them up, and then I'll kind of say my piece. And the main thing, though, is even though he didn't really do anything but talk, Steve Austin is still a draw, like big time. And people just get excited just to hear the glass break. So, Rob, I will start with you. I hope you watched it. If not,
I did.
Okay, and I figured because of all the nostalgia pops, you would.
That's right.
What's your take on the Raw reunion and Austin?
So with Stone Cold Steve Austin, it's always great to see him because you don't see crowds with that reaction anymore to anybody. I mean, it's the end of the show and you hear that glass break and you just see everyone get to their feet. Everyone throws their fingers in the air. All the signs go up and it's chaos. You just don't see that with today's people. So I thought Austin appearing at the show was absolutely amazing. It was by far my second favorite moment on the entire show.
What was first?
Yes.
The best thing that happened on Raw was Bray Wyatt. I mean, can we say anything else about that? Foley did his job as a legend, put someone over, and everything that's going on with this Bray Wyatt gimmick is gold. I absolutely love every aspect of it. It's creative, it's original, and it's cool. When was the last time we had all three of those things? Let's just hope it's not a matter of time before they screw it up and kill it with 50-50 booking and just ruin the gimmick entirely.
No, that's a great point, and the fact that he used Foley's mandible claw, right, saved Foley from a bump, but yet it was very symbolic. So, Rob, you nailed it, and I knew you would. My favorite moment, too. But Austin was cool to see.
Absolutely.
It literally put me back 20 years ago. That's the power that Austin 316 has and always will have. Big G, you're kind of still right around the attitude era in Austin, but I know you've done your homework. Yeah. And you have. What's your take on this whole nostalgia pop? Any specifics that really stood out or were jokes to you?
Well, I had a couple of days to think about it. It was all right for what it was. Like you said, Austin still draws big time. You hear that glass break. Everybody's standing up, cheering, chanting what. And, he cut an awesome promo, even though it was about, like, WWE and, like, how everybody's family and whatnot. Still a better promo than anybody can cut today. I did enjoy the Bray Wyatt, and thank God Mick Foley can put a younger talent over, whereas nobody else in the business would. I also did enjoy, I do like 24/7 champion, and they had 8 or 9 title changes that night. You had Candice Michelle. I think Kelly was the first female to win the 24/7 champion. You had the Stooges. You had Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe. I thought was funny, So obviously now Drake Maverick and R-Truth are going at it again. I just want to see somebody new go after that 24/7 champion. I think Raw drew over 3 million viewers, which was the first time, I think, since like post SummerSlam 2018. Yep. So that just tells you people that, like Virtue said, the people who watched it in the past, they probably saw commercials for it. Oh, Raw Reunion, we're going to see Hogan, we're going to see Flair, we're going to see Austin. So they tuned in and watched it, and I think that'll be the last time we'll get 3 million viewers in a good while. So that's my take on it. Aaron, I know you did your review on Monday. Did you have anything else to say?
Well, like you said, the good news is that Raw did do over 3 million viewers this week. The bad news is that, like Rob said, it was pretty much the legends, Steve Austin in particular, that really carried the show. And let's be real here, nobody else other than perhaps Bray Wyatt really stands out at this point. I could see a lot of casual viewers tuning in and just feeling like it's the same old thing. They watched for the legends, and that's it. They're going to go back to not watching again. Maybe, just maybe, Bray Wyatt kept a few people or will keep a few people. But, yeah, overall, I think it was fine. But for me personally, I'd rather see the legends spread out over different shows. What WWE did was they basically blew their load for 1 week. They threw all these guys onto one show, and now you got nothing special. You can't do it every single week, but maybe if you have Steve Austin appear 1 week or Hulk Hogan appear 1 week, you can have consistent viewership instead of just throwing everybody onto one show. So for me personally, I like the idea of implementing legends just to keep the shows fresh. I think it's cool when you can tune in and anything can happen. Anybody could show up on any given night. Just like when the Headbangers showed up on SmackDown a few years ago. I really enjoyed that. And I would like to see more of that. Just see some nostalgia acts. Remember the Spirit Squad came back a couple of years ago? Stuff like that. I would like to see that happen on a more regular basis. And they get put over the new guys. You know, instead of 50-50 booking, why not bring back an old tag team from the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era, have them come in and put over the new team just to, you know, shaking things up a little bit and make things more interesting. That's just my own opinion on it.
Now, were there any McMahons on this show?
No.
Yeah.
Which stopped me.
Like, you know what I mean? Which, I don't know if that's good or bad. Good in the sense they didn't take spotlight away, but, you know, there wasn't much of it to share. But, yeah, they did not really pay it forward other than with Bray. And, of course, it was very simple with Bray. Safe, right? But, like, they could, like, let's look at the DX angle with the OC, or whatever they want to be called now. And the whole, you know, NWO came out. And I know they just all came out to, like, wave. They could have had, like, why couldn't you, like, let the OC get over in that segment? You know, too many egos. Now, Rob, I'm going to ask you because I don't know if the NoDQ Galaxy, well, they don't know, that you like Triple H, okay?
I do. My favorite all time.
Tell me your thought. Like, I think, like, AJ and the club, if they were, especially with new shirts, new name, put them over. Like, that would have been a great opportunity to make them really look strong going forward, and they dropped the ball. So, like, what do you think on that? Because you're a Triple H guy.
Triple H is my favorite all time. I think everything he touches is gold. But this segment to me fell flat because, let's face it, Hall and Nash don't look great. You had a couple of guys come out from the geriatric ward that are going to fend off AJ Styles and Anderson and Gallows. It just made no sense to me. And it was just the Clique stroking their ego for the sake of stroking their ego. And when you said there's no McMahons on the show, I do slightly disagree because Triple H is out there and he had a main segment. And did he put anyone over? No. It was like nostalgia night, so he had to pull out that golden shovel that he had all those years. As a mark for Triple H, I admit it fully. So yeah, I thought the segment fell absolutely flat, and it was probably actually one of my least enjoyed things on the entire show. Now, I'm curious what others think. Big G, what did you think about this segment?
Well, I'm also a big Triple H fan.
Competition. Who likes him better?
Well, actually, I think I do because I got a Triple H check.
Whoa! We've never
I can't compete with that. I can't compete with that.
Go on.
Anyway,
how many other tattoos do you have?
I got. I don't know if you can see. I got
Hardy
the Hardy
Boys.
Boys right there,
That's sweet.
and a Triple H, and then I got Randy Orton right there.
Now, do you have one on your lower back that says
No.
Shill or Mark?
No.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Now, how is
It
it,
says
that we've known
EC3.
you for a couple of years? Ooh. Like, how is it we've known you for a couple of years and we just are now finding out that you have these tattoos?
I think. Well, I mean, it's on my Facebook through my photos, but anyways, I feel Triple H should have put over the OC, especially AJ Styles and Carl, and the OC in general. You know, because didn't they just sign new contracts too, or supposedly renew their contracts? If I'm not
I think everybody's getting new contracts.
So,
that want them.
Triple H should have put him over, Shawn Michaels could have put him over. I mean, he did that with Ziggler on SmackDown. So why couldn't he have done that with AJ Styles? And I think AJ Styles says, he'll go down to NXT and fight his guys down there. So we'll see what happens with Triple H, and maybe one day he'll decide to put somebody over and not bury them with his golden shovel.
Okay, so real quick here. First of all, Big G, you don't have an EC3 tattoo, do you?
No.
Okay. Rob, so since you're in TGS's spot, what do you think about EC3?
He's a Cleveland, Ohio. I know he's a Browns fan, so he can't be that bad of a guy. I think he's a great wrestler that's underutilized. I don't think I have the love that maybe the person I'm sitting in for has for him, but I have a lot of respect for the guy for sure.
All right, fair enough.
And Big G cringed because he's a Steelers fan, and you said Browns. This is great. I mean,
we're
off to a great
today. It's the worst state I've ever been to.
So before I move on, seriously, you see how reactionary the OC is. I already see Kenny Omega and Young Bucks tweeting things that say original. So they could have really had something special here, right? This is a war. Start doing stuff. Don't hold back. But whatever. Let's move on because, Shawn kind of tried a little bit. He had to get his jab into to Ziggler at the end there. But from SmackDown with that Miz TV segment with Ziggler that came out there, Shawn owning up, literally, a guy like Shawn saying this on TV where it gets out to a couple million people, he owned up to saying he can't perform like he once did. And, you could say, oh, he was just in gimmick and he didn't really mean it. Wrestlers like that, especially old school, have big egos. So for him just to even say it, even in character, Shawn basically said he doesn't have what it takes, and he was embarrassed for his performance and going to Saudi Arabia. Now, we can imply, was he embarrassed for going over there and taking the money? Probably not, but I kind of thought that was really, really cool. Probably one of the coolest things from the last 2 days, Shawn saying that. Now, Shawn definitely looks older and slower. His legs are bow-legged. He's getting older, right? Could he have one more go against the right talent? We could always hold out hope for that. AJ Styles would be perfect. So, Aaron Rift, thoughts on Shawn saying that? I really respected that, even though he could have been in character. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I agree. I feel like it really said a lot for him to publicly admit that. All I know is watching that segment, I was thinking to myself, I really want to see Shawn Michaels versus Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam and let Shawn redeem himself from Crown Jewel, just like Undertaker did at Extreme Rules. However, I'm not getting my hopes up on it. Like I said on the recap video, I feel like Shawn was not even meant to be in that segment. He was supposed to be doing commentary, and he was put in that segment at the last minute. I don't think there are any plans for him to wrestle again, and it's just going to be Ziggler versus The Miz. But man, if Shawn came back and had one great match with Dolph Ziggler, what a way for him to go out to make up for the whole Crown Jewel debacle. And, if he is prideful about his performances, why not do the one more match with Ziggler? I'm sure Ziggler could carry him to a really good match, and I'm really confident that it would be better than the Crown Jewel match by leaps and bounds. I don't
because
even have any.
Yes, it's two to tango, right? And it's not Undertaker and Kane you're going against. It's Dolph Ziggler.
Right.
Exactly.
So great point, Aaron. Yep.
Yeah, so I'd love to see it happen. And I think even Shawn Michaels at 75% capacity versus Dolph Ziggler, I think it would still be a really solid match.
I agree with that. Now, Rob, you being a Triple H guy all these years, I don't know how much you've liked HBK. HBK is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because of him, I ended up liking Jericho, right? Similarity?
Sure.
So what thoughts on this? And could we ever see Shawn do one more one-on-one match to ride off into the sunset against the right opponent?
Yeah, and I think Ziggler would be the perfect match for that. Now, if they do have a match, we need to have the Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man meme because, let's face it, Ziggler is like a 70% HBK knockoff. The work rate is great. Do I agree with you that if he has one more match, it needs to be against someone like Ziggler? Because Ziggler, I think, would feel so honored to have that last match with Shawn Michaels. He could kick it into the gear we all know he's capable of. And if HBK is leaving everything on the line because his pride is hurt, that could be a golden match for the ages, a true retirement match. And that could be something to hopefully put Ziggler over because this guy has just been buried and buried. I don't know. I mean, he must love the money and freedom he gets because he just keeps getting pinned And he just keeps signing these new contracts. So maybe they could bump him up a little bit. HBK could get his golden send-off, and they could both end on a fantastic match. I think that'd be a great event for SummerSlam. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, we can only hope, but what's your saying, Aaron? The unlikelihood thing?
Highly unlikely in all likelihood.
Yeah, tongue twister for me. Big G, take.
Hey, what else can I say? I mean, you guys pretty much covered everything I was going to say, I did enjoy the segment on SmackDown. And, HBK did put Ziggler over with the super kick. And I think, if HBK did have one more match in him, and if he wanted to for the right amount of money, I think they could do it at SummerSlam. But I see it being Miz versus Ziggler and possibly HBK being in Miz's corner, just to have that confidence booster for Miz, even though he doesn't need it. Because he cut a great promo, too, during that segment. Other than that, not much else to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see that. So some action is better than no action, right? So we'll see if HBK is not just on a panel there. All right, so we're going to Toronto, right, Aaron, for SummerSlam. Oh, Canada, right? We know where it's at. So, of course, we got Natty versus Becky. Only reason why. I know you got a lot to say about this, Rob. The rumors, Trish Stratus from Toronto, right? It's a rumor right now as we're recording this, but she's going to be Charlotte's opponent. Okay, everybody knows I love Charlotte. She's like a female Roman Reigns, right? People hate her, but they're going to push her, okay? Like Brock Lesnar. That's fine. I don't mind this match, but I'm sitting there thinking, you could have had Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus in Toronto, okay? No disrespect to Natty. For the title, could you imagine Becky defending the Raw Women's Champion? Becky has not been right. The whole Lacey Evans thing just didn't pan out. Has not been right in the main event since who? Ronda Rousey was involved.
Yep.
That was gold on a silver platter, but they're going to give it to Charlotte, which, again, I'm okay with, but wow, seriously, I cannot believe they did that. So what's everybody's take on this rumor, and would you have rather seen Trish versus Becky? I'll start with you, Big G.
Oh, man. So this is just a rumor right now.
Yeah. It's a good one, though.
It is, it gives Charlotte something to do, and obviously it's in Toronto, so obviously they're going to put Trish in there. I think Trish versus Becky would have been nice, too. I think it would have been a 50-50 crowd because, they're going to cheer for Trish regardless, and people still like Becky. I guess I'm okay with Charlotte versus Trish at SummerSlam. Rob?
Gotcha.
Charlotte versus Trish Stratus? Absolutely. I think that is a genius move on their part because guess what? The fans are going to be raining boos on Charlotte Flair. And when the hometown hero, the country hero for Canada, Trish Stratus makes this appearance, that pop is going to be insane. And if they have her go over in some fashion, I think that's a feel-good moment for the crowd and that's a good send-off. So I think it's a good idea. The other women's match I think is trash. So I'm sure we'll get to that later.
Well, we talked about that last week, so elaborate. Just get your take on Natty versus Becky.
Natalya has paid her dues, and for some reason, over the 20 years that she's been around the business, she has never gotten the ability to cut a promo. Her character is a person that likes cats, I guess. I don't really understand anything about her gimmick. The last meaningful gimmick she had is when she farted all the time, and even that was stupid. So I don't understand how someone who's been around the business her whole life, who has been in her family, is the most boring, bland person I've ever seen on a roster. She's decent in the ring, but every time she picks up that mic, I just want to mute my TV and go get a beer out of the fridge. I just can't do it.
And that's a lot of the game, is to cut a promo and have charisma. And I admit, Natty's gimmick all her career has just seemed like I'm ripping my Uncle Brett off. But without the, pizzazz.
Charisma
So
talent,
Aaron, your take on this whole rumor here with Trish, and would you have liked to have seen Trish versus Becky for a title, or at least the Charlotte match with a title, the bigger field? Trish could come back at any given moment for a title match, and nobody's going to complain.
Well, at least it gives something for Charlotte to do. And Charlotte, I feel, does need to be built up a little bit more. She's been downplayed the last several months. And yeah, I think it would have been nice for Charlotte to be in a different match, but not the triple threat. I mean, I think I would have gone with Becky versus Charlotte, quite frankly, just because they have unfinished business from WrestleMania. Although I think they did a match. What was the pay-per-view after WrestleMania? Whatever that one was. I forgot already.
So did I.
I'm fine with what they're doing. You guys know the pay-per-view after WrestleMania, whatever it was, Payback. I don't think it was Payback. I'm forgetting.
We'll say Payback. That's fine.
Yeah,
Backlash.
whatever. Backlash, Payback, whatever.
In your house. But we got you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine with it. I
ask
think
you
it's a good
this.
dynamic. Go ahead.
Do you think like they're gonna announce the match before SummerSlam, or do you think they're gonna do like an open challenge kind of thing where Charlotte comes out to the ring and says, because she said yesterday she demands a match at SummerSlam, so.
Okay, so this is what I feel like WWE is going to do because they've done stuff like this before. It would make sense to do it one of two ways. Either announce it on television before the pay-per-view or save it as a surprise for the pay-per-view. I feel like WWE is going to announce it on WWE.com and social media like the Friday before the pay-per-view. So they won't do it on television nor have it as a surprise for the pay-per-view. They'll just randomly say on Friday afternoon before the pay-per-view, Trish Stratus is going to be the opponent for Charlotte, and it'll be all over Twitter and Facebook, and that's what they're going to do. I hope they don't do that. I think the other two options are a lot better, but we've seen WWE do crap like that before, so wouldn't surprise me if they do it again. And regarding Natalya, I just wanted to say, I feel like her promos are fine. Like her promo against Nikki Bella several years ago when she said, "My cat has more charisma than you." I thought that was great stuff.
Well,
I think
cat lover, you would. Okay.
Of course. But I think when she has good material, I think she does a decent job with her promos. And I think she's certainly better than like a Nia Jax, who has shown nothing at this point.
I can't argue with that.
Then again, that's not really saying much when you're better at promos than Nia Jax.
All right, well, great points by everyone. So we will see, and maybe since we'll be there, Aaron, maybe we can be part of helping Trish and Charlotte, if it happens, at least get 60% of that Hogan versus Rock vibe, right? Same place. Well, not the same place, but the same town. So we will see, right? Didn't that happen at WrestleMania 18? Rock versus Hogan in Toronto in the Sky Dome?
Yeah.
So moving on. This topic is called exposed. Not exposed in the fact of Big G wanting to stand up and unzip his pants like he almost did before we went on the air. But, and the Randy Orton promo, and I like when the real stuff is said, right? Because I've said this since day one, and people were in denial. Kofi fans have been in denial that he got his spot because Mustafa Ali got hurt. We know Randy Orton, he has lines that blur like the black and white and the gray area of reality. He said that in his exact promo, right, to build the heat, right, because he's the heel. So to me, this whole run from Kofi, for the people that have supported him since day one, saying he deserved it and he wasn't just a replacement, Randy Orton, thank you. You proved my point. Unfortunately, you're probably going to job to Kofi. Rob, I'll start with you because I know you're not the biggest Kofi fan like me either.
Well, I will say I think Kofi Kingston earned his title when he got over on his own, and he had a lot of positive heat going through that WrestleMania moment. Okay, but he has done nothing to maintain that. I don't view him as a credible champion. I don't view him as someone that I want to see. I don't want to pay money to go see Kofi Kingston. And so far, his title reign has just fallen absolutely flat. What has he really accomplished besides being the third fiddle in a faction? I mean, the guy
he gets
doesn't have
booked to win out of nowhere every time now,
and that's fine. But he's the guy throwing the pancakes. He's not, Big E's the voice on the entrance music. He doesn't have his own signature thing. Even when Hogan was in the NWO, he had his own signature music. Macho Man had his own signature music. Kofi Kingston is just a cog in the machine, and it's time for that cog to be replaced by somebody else. Will it happen at SummerSlam? Probably not, but I'm pretty much over this entire run so far. I think they botched it worse than they probably could have done it at all. So I'm over it.
Well, I think it's good that he's been winning matches. I mean, he's been better booked than Rey Mysterio as world champion. Let's be honest about that. But I think the problem, as you mentioned, Rob, is that he just looks the same. It just doesn't feel like a world champion with his presentation. I feel like he should have evolved the character a little bit. He should have gotten new gear. He should have maybe gone back to his old music or gotten new entrance music, have his own identity a little bit. Instead, he's just the New Day guy wearing the WWE title, throwing pancakes around. There was no evolution with the character, and I think that's why it's been such a letdown for people because he feels like a mid-carder holding the WWE Championship. And this is despite the fact that he's been winning a lot of matches. He's beaten a lot of people. He beat Owens, he beat Ziggler, he beat Joe. He's beaten all those guys in that gauntlet match.
You mean they booked him to beat him?
Yeah, but, if we're pretending wrestling's real, then, he's beating all these guys, and the champion should be beating everybody because otherwise he's not the best in the world if he's not winning all the matches. So.
Yeah, well, a champion for 11 years, booked barely better than 50-50 at best, winning all the time now.
Better than Jinder, though.
It's debatable. I mean, I think this is a joke. I'd rather see Jinder because at least he was getting booed. So, Big G, right?
Yes.
What's your thoughts on this? Now, is New Day never going to get broken up because is somebody in the WWE bubble afraid to break basically their version of the Elite up? Because everybody knows they're friends. The Bucks and Omega are friends with what's his name? Xavier Woods, right? Yeah. And it's almost like WWE, well, here's our Elite, right? The New Day. And everybody knows it's Vince McMahon's baby. I think that's things like that, right? Ticky-tacky things like that are why this group's not evolving. Why wouldn't there be jealousy? Especially with Big E, right? With Kofi being champion. Why can't at least, even if they don't really turn them, show a little bit of animosity like what they did with the Rockers? Of course, they ended up the Rockers ended up breaking up, but they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm ready for a new champ, damn it. RKO. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I mean, I think this is besides Owens and Ziggler, I'm not really counting Samoa Joe because Samoa Joe isn't really that credible. I think Orton is Kofi's most credible opponent to date as WWE champion. Like I said, I would like to see Orton win the championship. I don't think it's going to happen. And I do want them to break up the New Day eventually. I'm tired of the New Day. You have Kofi Kingston, like you said, everybody said he's throwing pancakes. He's got pancakes stuffed inside the title belt, making it look like a joke. And if somebody did turn on New Day, I hope it is Big E because he, like Virtue said, is the star of New Day.
Dude, the next iteration of the WWE waffle maker, that's not pancakes, but maybe they can have a pancake press. It's going to be the shape of the WWE title belt.
I have a quick question for Mr. Big G. How is Samoa Joe not credible? Have you watched this guy's career? This guy's a wrecking machine.
But he's losing. That's a great point. Big G, before you continue, that's a great point. Hold on. Samoa Joe's been losing, right? But I look at him and look the way he is, his whole career, and I look at Kofi, and I'm supposed to believe Kofi can win all these matches now and Joe loses all these matches? That I call BS on, you know what I mean? And so go ahead, Big G. That's why another reason to get knocked against Kofi.
His wrestling career in Ring of Honor and TNA, I enjoyed a lot because he was this badass who could choke you out and put you to sleep. And then he comes to WWE to NXT, and NXT, he was good down there. Bring him up to the main roster. You have him losing all these big matches. He played hot potato with the U.S. Championship. He was handed the U.S. title after losing it.
But yet Kofi can win matches. See, that's my disconnect.
How am I supposed to, believe in Samoa Joe that he's this ultimate badass when he's losing match after match after match? On the pay-per-view shows he loses, but then when it comes to the TV matches, he'll win like pretty much 50-50 booking.
So let me ask you this. If Lesnar was going to face either Kofi Kingston or Samoa Joe, who do you think is a more credible threat to Brock Lesnar?
Neither. I'd
vacuum, so you got to pick.
I would have them both thrown out in that ring with Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar just demolished both of them.
I'll answer that for him. It's obviously Samoa Joe, right? I mean, and that's what I'm having a problem with, seeing him lose these big matches, that match after match after match, and now Kofi can't lose. That to me is taking I can't suspend my disbelief when WWE does
I get
stuff.
what you're saying because Kofi doesn't look like a guy that can beat everybody.
He has no chance.
Joe just has to win some. Not like on his big matches, he doesn't have to win them all, but like at least give him 50-50.
Right.
but he's like 0 and whatever now. It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, you need a balance. Like, Kofi is maybe winning too many matches, and somebody like Rey Mysterio. Like, the thing is, if you're going to put the world title on Rey Mysterio in the first place, you should at least have him win some matches. But he's also, when you look at him, he's an underdog. That's just his size and stature. He's an underdog. So he's not going to win all the time. And I'm fine with him being the world champion. I just think when Mysterio won the title, he was losing every match as world champion. I'm like, why even put the title on him in the first place and call him he's basically a fluke champion. And I know Randy Orton's calling Kofi Kingston a fluke champion, but Kofi's beaten everybody, so that didn't even make any sense to me when Orton said that. Otherwise, I did like his promo, though.
Good. Noted. Great points by everyone. So let's move on. Everybody wants to talk about Shane McMahon. This is more about Kevin Owens, though. Kevin Owens taking the stunner role on, right? Mr. Stone Cold, the new voice of the voiceless, CM Punk, whatever you want to call him. They're trying too hard right now with Shane and Kevin Owens, though, to do McMahon and Austin. Aaron, you said they should have did that with Becky, right? Leading into WrestleMania, and they kind of dropped the ball. But here they're giving the effort to this because Shane's, but see, now Shane's involved. So I'm wondering if that's why. So what's everyone's take on Austin McMahon 2, something they really didn't do with Becky like they should have? Big G, I'll start with you.
Yeah, they are trying to make this like Austin versus McMahon. I think Vince is living vicariously through Shane, because Vince can't really do anything anymore. He can't take as many bumps.
That's the best point you've said in 2019.
I'm just wondering though, is the stunner over or is Kevin Owens getting over? So, Owens is doing good as a babyface. I like his promos, Virtue said, he's like CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless right now, trying to be. I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to this match because I want to see Kevin Owens beat the holy hell out of Shane McMahon and shut him up for once. And hopefully, if this happens, write Shane McMahon off of TV for a year or so and don't have him appear on TV. They could have put more effort into Becky pre-WrestleMania like this, but I guess they just wanted to do what they did. And with the whole Lacey Evans feud, I didn't think that helped her. And I don't think this Natty feud is helping her. The only person that was good for Becky, and damn it, she needs to come back, is Ronda Rousey. Because then
Shayna Baszler shows up and you're happy.
Yeah, and then
that's a great point with Rousey, though, because look at the way the finish happened at Mania. Whenever she does come back, she's coming right for Becky. So it's to be continued. And Aaron, maybe we'll get that one-on-one match down the road.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. Other than that, Rob, what do you have to say about this?
I have never been a Shane McMahon fan. You could probably look through all of my posts on Twitter, and I've just never enjoyed it. I like that he jumps off of things. I mean, that's cool. But he literally has the worst punch I've seen in any form of wrestling in my entire life. I thought Mae Young had a better right in her 80s than he did now. So yeah, they're basically trying to create a character called Stone Cold Kevin Punk, and I really don't understand how it's going down right now. It feels really forced. I mean, it's cool, I guess. I guess the stunner thing's cool. I don't know what to take. It's like they took their best things from the last 10 years and put it into a cake and threw it in the oven, and out comes Stone Cold Kevin Punk, and they rehashed the McMahon storyline. It's just, unfortunately, Shane doesn't have the charisma that his dad does. It really does come off as pompous. So, but like, to be Big G, what he said, to his credit, people want to see Shane get beat up. And I hope that's what happens, but I'm just ready for Shane to just kind of take a step back for a little bit. I'm pretty much over it. Mr. Rift, what do you think about that whole situation?
Well, first of all, I like that nickname. I think that's going to stick now. Hey, and Shane even botches the stunner like his dad, Vince McMahon, in the Steve Austin feud. So there you go.
Real quick, did he say Kenny Owens on TV this week? Kenny Owens? I swear I heard Kenny Owens. Anyway, go ahead.
He did.
I thought I heard Corey Graves say Randy Rhodes for that enhancement talent on Raw, but maybe I was mistaken.
It was Randy Rose.
Yeah, but I think Graves said Rhodes, like Brandy Rhodes, and then he said he started awkwardly laughing, and
I think I heard that too.
I don't know what happened there. That was really awkward. Kevin Owens, I like what they're doing with him as far as the promos go, but at the same time, like I'd rather just see Miz and Shane finish their feud. Like Miz has fallen so far down the ladder in WWE. He never got his win over Shane. Like I felt like after WrestleMania, after the pay-per-view, after WrestleMania, whatever it was called, I felt like Miz and Shane should have had one more match where Miz finally got his win back, and Miz is the guy that runs Shane out of WWE. Instead, Miz is pushed down to the side, and we got Kevin Owens and Shane again, even though we just saw them feud 2 years ago. Now the roles are reversed. I'm sure it'll be a good match at SummerSlam. I'm sure they'll do some crazy stuff. Shane will do another big bump. It'll be a fun fight. And as long as Owens beats him and Shane disappears for a while, then I'm fine with whatever. As long as it's the end of Shane, no complaints here. Just let Owens win and move on to something else. Stunner, I changed the move. Like, I'm not a fan of it. I think it's just too cheap of a tactic to try and get a pop. He doesn't need it. Owens can do fine on his own. Maybe it was his idea, though. I don't know if it was his thought process to do the move as a tribute to Steve Austin, just like some wrestlers do the frog splash as a tribute to Eddie Guerrero, or the big elbow drop as a tribute to Randy Savage. But I don't know. It makes him come off like a second-rate indie wrestler when he's doing the move of the much bigger star in history.
Would you prefer him to just be doing the pop-up powerbomb and getting over as himself?
Yeah, that's his move. That's his thing. The stunner, it just doesn't work for me. Like, if it was a different move that wasn't so iconic, I think it would be better. But the
what
stunner,
about the GTS?
No, I wouldn't do the GTS. I mean, it depends on the move. Like the elbow drop, yeah, it's Randy Savage's move, but a lot of people do the elbow drop. And same thing with the frog splash. But stunner, it's just such an iconic move that I don't think anybody should be doing it. Anybody. That includes anybody on the WWE roster, not just Owens.
So, in all fairness to Shane, he did have a hell of a run with the Mean Street Posse and X-Pac and Kurt Angle back in the day. So I know a lot of people, today's iteration of Shane comes across as cringe. He did have his moments in WWE history, and he earned them by being a McMahon. But they were awesome back in the day. But I can't say anything he's done since he's been back, other than maybe another couple of falls that he's taken, has really been like all-time great. That doesn't feel forced. So Shane back then, 2 thumbs up. Shane today, it does feel, Big G, like Vince McMahon's living vicariously through Shane, and we're suffering from it. With that said, main event time, right? And we are going to talk kind of AEW, right? This is happening during the All Out weekend, I believe. It's called Starrcast 3, right? I know a lot of the NoDQ Galaxy knows what this is. CM Punk is being advertised and is going to be there for Starrcast 3. Okay, meet and greets, photo ops, whatever. The fact is, this is CM Punk, and I know he's done it before, participating again at a wrestling event. Even though they're not wrestling, they're still probably indie shows that day. He is still very much clinging into the wrestling bubble and getting paid in ways which will make me always say, just like we talked about in the past, Daniel Bryan came back and he's wrestled again, people, right? CM Punk, I think, will get an itch. I don't know if it's to combat WWE or just to come back, and who knows what's going to happen. But there's no way he goes the rest of his life, if he lives to be a very old man, and never has another match or series of matches. I really think he's just taking these 5, 6, could be 10 years off to get that desire back. But Rob, what's your thoughts on CM Punk? To me, he's still very much in the wrestling bubble, even though a lot of people say, stop chanting CM Punk, go away, he hates the business. But yet he's getting paid to do events like this.
Who's connected with the fans more than CM Punk in the past 10 years? If there's anyone else up there, it's a small list, okay? CM Punk as a character is probably still one of, if not the most over wrestler, and he hasn't had a match in how long outside of putting a ski mask on and possibly doing a GTS to someone at an indie show? I don't know. Do I think he's going to do anything at the pay-per-view for AEW coming up? No. Is there a chance that CM Punk makes a debut on whatever the Wednesday Night Dynamite or whatever it is? Absolutely. I think that Khan is going to throw buku bucks at this guy. And I don't know if he's going to wrestle anytime soon, but I would be shocked if he doesn't come in and do a swerve or interfere in a match and just create a bunch of hype as soon as they go to TNT, because they're going to need ratings. Okay. They need to justify the money put in. And if they're going to throw all this money at Jericho, if you're Tony Khan, the smartest thing you could do is throw just insane, like double what Lesnar gets. Just get him on TV, and that's going to create enough buzz to keep your TV deal going for a long time. That's my thoughts on CM Punk. Big G, what do you think?
Well, what do
Nothing.
I think.
Are you going to be at AEW's TNT premiere in Washington, D.C., since it's fairly close to you?
Most likely, yes. Depending on how much the ticket sales are going to be and whatnot for Capital One Arena, I'll most likely be going there. And it would be awesome, if I was there and CM Punk did come out and debut on the opening show for TNT. As far as StarCast, I think he's just going to be there and do his meet and greets and whatnot. He might show up at All Out and just say something and not wrestle. Other than that, not much else to say. Aaron?
I think only one person knows the answer, and that's CM Punk. I think that if CM Punk wants to be in AEW, he will be in AEW. I think money will not be an option or an issue, I should say. I think that CM Punk, if he has the itch, he'll do it. And if not, he's not going to be there, bottom line. And only he knows the answer to that question. Now, I think this is the perfect opportunity for him to make an appearance. He can make a huge impact. AEW is on fire right now. They're red hot, and him coming in would be historical, and it would generate a lot of buzz. I know NoDQ.com would probably crash again, which would be very good for my business. So CM Punk, please show up at All Out. I would really like that a lot if you did that. But yeah, I would say the odds are against it. If I had to bet money on it, I would say no. I think he's going to be back someday. I just don't know when. I feel like this is the best opportunity. I think the odds are going to decrease, though. If he doesn't show up at this, I think it's going to be less likely he does come back, just because there's not really going to be a better opportunity right now than right now. He's got a platform to where he can come in and make this huge difference, be part of something brand new, and move numbers. And I
want to say the same thing with AJ Lee too.
That's what I was going to say.
She would create an equal buzz pretty much. There's WWE's all about the female revolution. Stick it to them doubly. Mm-hmm. AEW brings in Punk and AJ, and they would pay them both.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a factor with him. I think he just doesn't have the drive to do it, and sometimes you just don't have that passion anymore.
He was so burnt out.
Yeah, exactly.
But does he hate WWE enough to do it out of spite for 3 months?
I don't think he would do that. I don't think he would do that.
I do.
Did he win that lawsuit that he had against WWE?
He did. And unfortunately, it also cost him his friendship with Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
So he's got the bitter taste in his mouth because of the wrestling business. Yeah. Really, and that's why we don't see him anymore. But it's the wrestling business. Warrior was in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? There's so many things that I never thought would end up happened again. Yeah. Punk and AJ Lee, right? People, people are talking to him, and they're listening, right? So, I mean, it would just be, like you said, the site would crash. So that's it. Anybody want to add anything to it? That was I just wanted to bring Punk up because, I know right now he's been gone for so long, some people are starting to get sick of him, but they're the same people that will get excited if he does ever come back.
Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. I like CM Punk, but it just bothers me when they chant his name at a WWE event.
But they could say anything. They go into business. Those fans go into business, beach balls, anything.
And it just goes to show the impression he left on the industry and on the fans. The fact that here we are 5 years after he left and people are still chanting his name. I mean, not a whole lot of wrestlers can say that 5 years after they left, people were still chanting for them. So there you go.
And Shawn came back after a nasty injury to his back, steel rod in his back, and had a better second half of his career match-wise than the first. Yeah. You don't think other wrestlers that leave the business don't get that itch to drive to go back and be better. You just can't. You can never say never. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
AEW now is making the possibility more realistic for Punk, I think.
Right. And again, it's a perfect opportunity. So we'll know if he doesn't show up.
It's more
clear.
wrestling. You know, the promos aren't scripted, so it'd probably be better to his liking than WWE.
Maybe John Moxley can sell him. Maybe they'll have a private phone call or something, and John Moxley can pitch AEW, say, "Hey man, this will reignite your passion for wrestling."
I did for
nobody want take this with a grain of salt, but John Moxley is pitching. He's a big fan of Kaz, big Kaz XL. I don't know about Enzo, so I would be ecstatic for Kaz to get booked into AEW at some point. Moxley is going after him hard. They're even working a bunch of indie matches together per Moxley's request. And again, just throwing that out there, because why not bring back somebody from WWE that they released? Why not bring Enzo back too? AEW needs to try all of these things, and especially with people that get attention.
Yeah,
so,
it's just bring him back as a manager, if anything, though.
Yeah. Well, I agree, but him managing Cass.
Yeah. Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Or even just
Taking
doing
bumps
the tag
like
team.
managers take. He can bump.
I would be fine with a tag team. I think it's important to have a balance. Like, you want to bring in some WWE guys, but you don't want to be known as the company that is just hiring former WWE stars.
You don't want to saturate with
that. What you need to do is bring in some of these guys that have name value and use those guys to elevate your new guys. That's where TNA went wrong. Like, they brought in all the ex-WWE guys, and all the ex-WWE guys became world champion, and none of the TNA guys really got elevated from the WWE guys. You know, the TNA guys were always booked inferior to the former WWE guys, and ultimately guys like AJ and Joe never really reached that mainstream success because TNA just didn't build them as larger than life. They were the guys that were there doing great matches, but then the WWE guys came in and basically overshadowed them.
Bischoff, Hogan era. Don't blame Russo. Russo was doing his best to put over the younger guys in TNA.
Well,
but then Cornette. No. See, first of all, do your research on Impact and don't just skim. Right? Go ask Andre Corbeil. He'll fill you in. Yeah. Russo didn't always write for Impact. He was in and out of there. Okay. What I'm saying is, when AJ got his singles push, that was Russo. But you remember, Bischoff came in. Heyman came in. No, Heyman never came in, but Cornette came in. Dixie Carter. I mean, there was a lot of politics going on.
Oh yeah. Now, granted, give credit where credit is due. Impact's biggest numbers were when Russo was writing the show. I mean, I'm not arguing that, but Main Event Mafia. I did enjoy the Main Event Mafia, by the way, but that whole frontline angle did no favors for the TNA originals, in my opinion. But I'll just leave it at that.
Yes.
Okay. That's it. Would you like to say anything about WCW 2000 while you're at it? I mean, I'm giving you the opportunity here.
Hey, it's entertaining stuff. You know, it wasn't good for business, but I enjoyed watching it. Perhaps better than current WWE product. I mean, I'd rather see something creative and taking chances, and even if it doesn't work, even if it's bad, at least you're trying something different. That's why, like, I always applaud creativity, regardless of whether it's good or not, because at least it's thinking outside the box and doing something different. What I don't like is when it's the same repetitive formula that we get every single week and it just never changes. It's literally the same thing every single week.
And that's why, Rob, you were on the show this week. We changed it up, right? We heard people talking about mic issues. TJS will be back, and maybe we'll start doing 5. We'll see the feedback you get, Rob. Maybe we can start doing 5, and then we can all shorten what we say just to get more input. But hey, that's it. We'll see.
You know what? Maybe TJS was actually getting an EC3 tattoo tonight, and that's why he could not do the video. Who knows?
So anyway, expect some troll comments in the comments, Rob. Fake accounts bashing you, probably coming from TJS, but nonetheless, that's why we're here. That's why Virtue's the Troll Slayer. The new shirt is up, by the way, on NoDQ.com/shirts. So with that said, everybody go around and do your plugs. Rob, I will start with you.
My one plug, awesome. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Xenomecha, Xenomecha. You can check out in the archives. I actually do have no DQ articles I have written in the past. I hope to God I could be on another one of these because this was a lot of fun. And if you guys liked what you saw from me and you actually want to see some more Virtue, there's a couple places you can see that. Virtue, can you do the rest of my plug for me? I just plumb
Yes,
forgot.
we do stuff on the Big. I'm just going to mention the Big Vito brand channel. We do a show, and we're about to record one after this. So go to my Twitter at NoDQ_virtue, and I always post that stuff there. But thank you for plugging that, Rob. Big G.
Yes,
There you go.
NoDQ.com/Big G takes you to my Twitter page. NoDQ_Big G on Instagram. Jeff Hiltz on Facebook. And like Virtue said, NoDQ.com/shirts. I just purchased the new Virtue Troll Slayer shirt. And you can still go to Pro Wrestling Tees, right, Aaron, to get the older retro shirts, like the NoDQ review, the OG Virtue's Rage upside down new to NoDQ.com. Aaron's got his wrestling trivia challenge. That should be coming back too, right, Aaron? You want to?
Well, you guys will have to check with Jeff Meacham. I believe Jeff's going to be making an announcement on social media pretty soon. So follow Jeff at _Jeff Meacham. There's a plug for him. And make sure you guys RSVP to the NoDQ meetup in Toronto for SummerSlam. Head over to NoDQ.com/Toronto. Big G will not be there, unfortunately, but he says he's going to try to be at the AEW debut on TNT. Maybe we could do some kind of meetup in Washington, D.C. for that. I'm going to try to get Big G some media coverage for the AEW show. We'll see if that pans out or not. But yeah, just stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest news and rumors. And that's it. Virtue, let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, you know the skinny. Follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. Travel at your own risk. And also over on my Facebook, NoDQ.com/Virtue with a small V. That's where Big G and I do Virtue's Rage every Thursday at about 10 o'clock. We're kind of like down to single-digit viewers over there. So come have fun. Troll us, if you will. But that's it. That's it. You know where to find me. For Aaron Riff, the boss man. For Robbie Vite.